Okay, my friends, how are you? I have the camera backed out a little bit, just in case you get a chance to catch a kitty view passing by. I even have a pillow in my lap to elevate them a little so you might be able to see. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to do something different today. I haven't done this before that I know of. Some of my journals are still handwritten. Don't ask me why. I don't know. A wild hair, okay? Sometimes I just like the feel of the pencil and the handwriting. It just feels good. So for the first time, I'm going to read one of them. I just wrote it this morning. Are these different or not? I don't know. It's a journal. Okay, so today, well, there was a tale, is 118 of 2012. And this is the first journal today. Don't know yet what the Mayan day is. I don't know why I write some of these journals out and do others on the computer. It really doesn't matter though. The mind would like things to be neat, sensible, and organized. Poor mind. It definitely takes a back seat in my life. I remember now how I used to watch my handwriting. It would change somewhat over the years, and I had a sense that when the journals would be ready to share, and this is Mr. Cuddles. Here, Mr. Cuddles, say hi. See, he's not showing to very best effect. He's Mr. Cuddles. Okay, so it would change somewhat over time, and I had a sense that when the journals would be ready to share, I would know it somehow by the writing, the penmanship. It would just look a certain way, and I just knew that. Now, it's funny, too. Now and then, I would use paper just to practice my letters. It didn't help. The improvement I sought wasn't mechanical. It came from much deeper. One can certainly tell more about someone in a handwritten letter versus a computer-generated one. You can even tell things about yourself by observing your writing. We have gone so mechanical with so many things electronic. It's not always good, and good itself is a relative term. What it means depends on you and your own self-definition, your answer to, who am I? What is good to me, you might find simply terrible. We are these gods, these little g creator gods. And it's so amazing that we forgot that. The beings orchestrating things around here must be really so amazing. Now, excuse me. Must be really advanced in some ways, as in their ability to manipulate and control. No doubt, it also took them some time to reduce us to this state. The world and all of cosmos is so not what we're taught it is. Far from it. This whole supposed reality is a double lie or deception. How is that? Well, to begin with, matter itself is not what it appears to be, solid and stable. When each atom is only 0.00001% solid, I'd say that's downright illusory. Then, when you add to that the intensity of deception compressed into everything we're led to believe, well, to me, that's a sort of double deception. It doesn't bother me so much simply because I've managed to see through enough of it to lose faith in it. There are many shattering awakenings on the road to this level of peace about it, though. The way it's constructed, it pulls people in by their beliefs in so many lies. Within themselves, they create an identity and a mental topography of reality. with no conscious awareness that just like matter's solidity, that's about how much truth they've been fed along with their diet of lies. Point not 1%. What a mess. It's rather sad what people must go through as they're awakening to this state of affairs. Deceit and lies are simply everywhere. The web is finely woven in all detail. Only lies and deceptions simply everywhere. How very sad. And there's probably about 0.1% truth in it as well. Well, maybe a little more, not much. Well, it's only sad until we begin to connect with the real self, capital S, and then things start to change really fast. We thought the last generation, the one that lived through the Great Depression, had seen the most change in their lifetimes. That was only external change. Next to the kind of internal change being made recently, that will pale into insignificance. It can be viewed from so many angles, what is happening to time itself. We could say time is compressing. We're fitting so much more life into such a short length of time. One could even say time is ending. That works for me. But what's ending isn't so much time as our notions around time. What we thought time was is going away. It was never that. Instead, our false notions of time formed a large part of the matrix of unreality we've been existing within. Hard to call it living. The way that it's been, well, that is what is going away. This sense of what life is, that's changing, and fast. There were and are ever so many layers and levels to this web of deception we've been trapped within. We were trapped within. The powers that be had arranged it that way in hopes that as one deception was uncovered, there would be many more to take its place, to keep mankind trapped. Well, that worked for a while, quite a long while. But times have certainly changed. The powers that be have morphed into the powers that were. They don't quite rule the stage anymore. Have you noticed? Far too many of their lies and deceptions have been uncovered for that and continue to be so. Truth is coming out everywhere. Plans and meetings and organizations that worked safely in the dark, in secret, these many centuries are coming undone, are being exposed to the world, to the bright light of day. Their power structures are being undercut. Now, they're a pretty cutthroat bunch, so more and more they're also turning on each other, every man for him or herself, while we sit back and watch the betrayals going down. When you start to see members of this supposedly elite ruling class winding up in jail cells, you know something big has changed. Once upon a time, and for thousands of years, this sort of thing was but the rare aberration. Not anymore. Now they are the powers that were. This doesn't mean they've given up, though. For so many of them, that just isn't possible. They can't accept that their power isn't still there. They can't even imagine not being in charge. It's rather pathetic. And you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of you taking charge of your mind. And the mind doesn't want to give up. The mind has been in power forever, just like the powers that were. And it just can't believe that it has to take second place to anything. And so it fights. And that's what this reminds me of. Now, still, that doesn't mean it's an easy job being a light being in the midst of this change. It still can be harrowing, as so many have learned. Money has been the major mechanism of control all of this time, and it still is. And so many people are losing the very roof over their heads. Well, the big banks get multi-trillion-dollar bailouts. It's obscene. And still, the level of suffering isn't enough to wake everyone up. It has been the goad, the motivating factor that has awakened or spurred the awakening of so many of us, though. It got so very miserable that we were finally able to let the dream go. This is necessary or we'll never awaken. Many won't awaken in time to make the great shift where huge masses of us will rise up out of 3D. We're in process of ascending right now and have been for a number of decades, all unaware for the most part. In today's world, we're doing this more consciously, this waking up. We're finally alert to the matrix, the web of lies. We've ceased believing so much of what we are told. We finally know better. Even so many of our brethren are calling us crackpots and nuts, those still trapped in the web of lies, those still focused and living from mind. To get out of the cleverly laid traps of the powers that were, it takes dropping out of head and down into heart. It is also found in deeply discovering the now moment and clinging fiercely to that. The whole domain of mind is only the past. Thus, to break out requires bypassing the mind completely. Ultimately, it is seen that all the traps are laid in the domain of mind. Our minds have been largely commandeered without our knowledge, much less our consent. We had no idea what was going on, of how we were being used. And until we can finally transcend our dependence and subjugation to our own mind, we won't really know this. Oh, the traps are amazing, very thorough. You can come right out and tell someone the truth, and still they're immune. They continue their belief in the lie. It's very well done. This takeover of mind has been very well done. Unless someone is truly ready to awaken, there really is no way to help them out of the web. And they remain self-trapped by their own belief system, unable to recognize truth. This web has been masterfully woven. We've got to give the bad guys that. So, what is to happen then? What will happen to these who remain the believers in lies? We all retain belief in some of the lies, folks. This can't be helped. And for those awakening ones, it is no cause for concern. Once true heart contact is even just initiated, you're on your way home, capital H, home in consciousness, back into your divine estate, on the way to remembering that you too are a creator God, little g. Only now do we begin to see what the new birth really means, this being born again thing that so many are convinced they have the experience of, they know the meaning of. My guess is that very few of that bunch really have this experience. They have another one. And I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm just saying it's not this. Let's see. When you have it, this born again thing, the life you were living simply passes away. It truly dies, never to be picked up again, as if that were even possible. It's not. The old life is just dead. As they say, it's not possible to pass back into your mother's womb. There is no going back. It's a complete divorce from the past. You feel like you're living another lifetime, another incarnation. You're made new, which is really a return to the old, the more authentic or original you. It's pretty shocking to see it this way, to realize how well the awakening experience will fit into this born-again mold. No doubt many Christians would object, thinking they are the owners of both this phrase and the correct understanding of it, and they are entitled to see life as they choose to do so. That is not my concern, and I don't choose to be their concern. Let us be mature enough adults to live and let live, and not try to force our ways or beliefs on others. Let's all honor the free will that is rightly ours. This forcing of one's will on another, regardless of any quote-unquote reason, that is, excuse, may be my one biggest objection to Christianity. If they could instead find it within them to live and let live, that would be much more mature, in my view. In the hands of some, even many, it is truly a bullying, arrogant religion. It is used worldwide as an excuse to conquer and control your fellow man. I'm quite sure Christ didn't teach that. I didn't see him going around conquering anyone. They don't seem to see how far from their Lord's ways their religion has come. It can easily be seen as a convenient set of excuses to manipulate and control your fellows under the guise of saving or rescuing them. The height of arrogance. But so steeped in the network of lies are they that their vision is sufficiently distorted to behave in such ways. Under the disguise of giving mankind their freedom, they do but take it away. I feel no need to cite instances to back up what I say. They are obvious enough and easily available to anyone who looks. Even a cursory look at history proves my point. The behavior today may be somewhat muted, but it and the underlying arrogance remain. They remain strong enough to support the continued assault on all non-Christians' free will, and even worse, on those they convert. So, religion itself, not just Christianity by any means, may be the biggest threat to overall awakening. Religion is largely a mental matter. Certain doctrine is accepted as true, and so the life is arranged in conformity to that. This is not to say that there are no great souls or saints who walk the path of religion. There certainly are. For the soul that's ready to go home, any avenue may be taken. As was once commonly said, all roads lead to Rome, meaning here that all roads can lead one home. It is the readiness of the soul or the inner being that controls. The outward circumstances are of much less concern. For the ready soul, all roads lead into heart. It is only from heart, absent mind's interference, that the way home is seen, known, and trod. Heart vision or perspective is entirely distinct from that of the mind. They live in two different worlds. Seriously. This heart that I speak of is nothing the mind understands, beginning and end of story, or can understand. Whatever one quote unquote knows from the level of mind is abandoned or forgotten to make this most important journey. Never again will anything be the same for the one who successfully arrives in their own kingdom of heart, their inner kingdom. It's another world, one you can't report on until you've made the journey alone. You leave all and everything behind to set out on this trip. Respect for our fellow man. I call for a renewed reverence for this. Each one has, in dignity, the right to make their own choices once they come of age. And I also call for far more respect and some reverence from what our children say and what they desire. Enough of calling them liars when they speak their truth of their little friends that you can't see. These children have much to teach us. Let's not be so quick to think we always know what's right and what's best. It's time to realize and admit that we don't know the truth at all. My friends, can we not admit that in our conscious mind, we don't even know the answers to life's most basic questions, starting with, who am I? If we can't answer these, then perhaps it's time to open dialogue with our children on these topics. Do we know what they have to say to these questions? If we catch them young enough, before all the programming has set in, then we may be quite surprised at any number of their answers. For anyone wishing to delve deeply into this, to take a wonderful journey there, there's a book to read. It's called Mr. God, This is Anna. I forget the author's name. I think it's Fritz something or another, but I'm not online yet, and I'm not going to do so just to get that. You can Google it or startpage.com it. My goodness, page 16 already. How it just flows. Well, on our way back into recovering our true divine identity, let us adopt a new level or standard of humility. Parenthetically, and just drop it that something doesn't make sense. It does. It makes heart sense. Close parentheses. Let us be willing to accord a new level of dignity and self-determinism to all beings. Let us not think we know best about anything, lest we run the risk of trying to run someone else's life. We don't know best. We don't know much of anything that is even true, much less what another one's divine plan might be. Let's stop interfering in one another's lives. Leave them alone. See to the self first. Then, when we're sufficiently awakened, consider lending a hand to our brother. Stop trying to save and rescue others. Rescue yourself. You don't even know that you're lost, chances are. What kind of rescuer does that make you? If anything at all, including religious beliefs, makes you feel so superior to your brethren that you start tampering in their lives, just stop. Stop and look closely at that. Whatever it is neither pure nor true. It is bearing false fruit, the kind that makes you interfere with your brethren's free will. Leave him alone, I say. Listen up. Just stop. Everybody stop. Stop all of your thinking and just look around. You are caught in the great web of lies. Stop justifying your unholy actions. If you will just stop and begin to silently observe yourself and your thoughts, you may even awaken. It is possible, even those so convinced that they are already saved. Better yet, drop down into heart. You will meet your Lord there, only to find it's one with yourself, capital S. You are that. Be at least open to this. Be willing to say 3 of the most important words in your life. I don't know. Thank you for listening. Let's see if I can get my kitty in there. There you go. That is Mr. Cuddles. And maybe next time you'll also get to see Starlight. Okay, good day. Okay, my friends, how are you? I have the camera backed out a little bit, just in case you get a chance to catch a kitty view passing by. I even have a pillow in my lap to elevate them a little so you might be able to see. So we'll see how it goes. I remember now how I used to watch my handwriting. It would change somewhat over the years, and I had a sense that when the journals would be ready to share, and this is Mr. Cuddles. Here, Mr. Cuddles, say hi. See, he's not showing to very best effect. He's Mr. Cuddles. Okay, so it would change somewhat over time, and I had a sense that when the journals were going to do something different today, I haven't done this before that I know of. Some of my journals are still handwritten. Don't ask me why. I don't know. A wild hair, okay? Sometimes I just like the feel of the pencil and the handwriting. It just feels good. So for the first time, I'm going to read one of them. I just wrote it this morning. Are these different or not? I don't know. Be ready to share. I would know it somehow by the writing, the penmanship. It would just look a certain way, and I just knew that. Now, it's funny, too. Now and then, I would use paper just to practice my letters. It didn't help. The improvement I sought wasn't mechanical. It came from much deeper. One can certainly tell more about someone. It's a journal. Okay, so today, well, there was a tale, is 1/18 of 2012, and this is the first journal today. Don't know yet what the Mayan day is. I don't know why I write some of these journals out and do others on the computer. It really doesn't matter, though. The mind would like things to be neat, sensible, and organized. Poor mind. It definitely takes a back seat in my life.